There we
It's
go.
going there.
Yes,
Hello.
yes, yes.
Woo. All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Karima Rainmaker Stewart, and I am here with the fabulous best-selling author, relationships coach, Sabrina Jackson Gandy. And tonight we are having a conversation around, it's called BOSS CHIC BLUES. And it's about why successful women fail and or struggle in love. And so this is not your mama's relationship talk. So we're really going to have you really lean in and be curious. I think at at first glance, you might look at this title and think, what are they going to be talking about? And so we just invite you to be curious and to lean in and to just do away with any inner argument, any inner defensiveness, but really become curious into what this amazing woman has to say. Sabrina, would you like to say hello to the viewing audience tonight?
Hello, y'all. So glad you could join us for this juicy conversation.
Yes, that's so exciting. And so, and I can, really attest to a lot of what we're going to be talking about tonight as a mentee of Sabrina's for the last 11, count them, 11 years. Some of the stuff, some of the truths and the powerful notions that Sabrina has shared with me and with other participants in her courses and other mentees has not always been the easiest to swallow, but it has been the most healing for our hearts and for our relationships and for our lives. And so that's what it really becomes about. So we really hope that you lean in and you ask questions. You can feel free to make comments in the chat. But we're going to be here and hold your attention for the next 40, 50 minutes. And we would just love for you to engage with us because it's really about us all growing together and really healing the relationships that we're in. So we're excited. And I think it will also really serve you to think about your own relationships, past, present, and future, and how you've shown up in those relationships. And if some of this resonates with you, please, just type it in the comments. Let us know. If you have questions about something in particular, you're curious about something, please let us know that. So without further ado, I say we just go on and get to it.
Yes. Lovely, lovely.
All right. Yeah. So Sabrina.
Yes.
In all of the, I can't even call it work because you're just so adept and so passionate about it, in all of the generosity and the truth sharing and the truth telling that you've done in your courses, in your books over the years. I'm sure there are some common reasons that women give for not being in a relationship, or reasons why they're not in a relationship when it's clear that they actually want to be in a relationship. So we're going to kind of start there on the front end, and before we dive into the boss chick archetype. Okay, so what are some of those reasons that you've heard over the years of why people are not in relationships when they clearly desire to be in them?
Well, I think the number one explanation women convince themselves of is that there ain't no good men. Meantime, while they're claiming there ain't no good men are getting swooped up left and right by women who believe there are good men. So that is one of the myths, that there ain't no good men. Good men are everywhere. And, you and I prefer black men, and good black men are everywhere. I also hear that I'm not interested in a love relationship, and that's usually because they've had some painful or confusing or disappointing past experiences, and therefore their default is I'm not interested, when really most of us would love to have that, whatever we say we want in our lives, plus a juicy love relationship. You know, like, why
Right.
not have that as a cherry on the sundae? So when we say I'm not interested in one, it often, not every time, but often is a default response because of past pain, woundedness, confusion, hurt, etc. Then for our Christian sisters, what we often hear is, I'm waiting on the Lord for
Lord.
my Boaz.
Mhm.
And that often becomes the rationalization. I'm waiting on the Lord, and the Lord has not brought him yet. And therefore, let's see, or there is just, it's neutral. It's not, I don't want one, I do want one. It's just like, and neutral. And that often is the case usually when we don't believe that we can attract that healthy male energy and attention, or we are unhealed and just have not done our forgiveness work so that we can no longer have those emotional wounds we're carrying around, which is actually 95% of us haven't done any complete, full, comprehensive, and more than once forgiveness work. So those are a few.
Yeah, and I would add to that, and you said unhealed, but I would also add unskilled, right? And so we,
Ooh, okay. Like
I mean, listen, you've been my mentor for 11 years. I was highly unskilled in relationships, right? And so instead of being able to articulate that or being able to admit that, or just being completely blind to the fact that you're unskilled. Like, I just didn't know that I was unskilled. I just thought I was I'm a nice gal. I'm successful. I'm beautiful. Like, what's wrong with me? Unskilled. And it's not even a right or wrong. It's just, I'm doing the best that I can with what I had. And so are many other women.
Yes. Unskilled. Yes. Let's add that to the list. And there's a distinction, you know, what I talk about in Love Academy and you know, what I talk about in the Love Lies, very little of it, however, is about skill. Now, when we talk about the manese and the womanese and upgrading your communication skills so you can become bilingual, not just speak womanese to men, which is what most of us do, but learning how to make the shift in our style and way and use of communication so that it's manese and women and men go, ah, I get it. I understand. I comprehend, which is different than just hearing you. And so, yes, there's skill involved. And then there's beliefs. And as you know, a lot of the place I hang out in my work is beliefs, because they're invisible and yet they run our lives. And they are what determine our perception, how we show up, how we engage, how we relate, what we think, what we feel. And feelings are a function of thinking. Thinking is a function of beliefs. So beliefs is the point of transformation. And so, yes, it's about overhauling our beliefs, and it's about upgrading our skill as well. Lovely. Yes.
And our skill on how to transmute, and our belief system, right? I didn't understand belief systems. I didn't understand how, I didn't have skill around that. I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the language around that. So, so you came in and my life and just shared so many valuable gifts and skills and just insight from your own life. And so just really, really in deep appreciation. So I'm just, marveling at us, 11 years later, having this conversation on Facebook Live. Who knew? Who would have thought? Yeah. And so as we,
go ahead. Well, I was going to say that, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So at the beginning of this Facebook Live, you said to all of our awesome current and future viewers that you want to come with an open mind, and all the stuff that, I already know to really let that go and wipe all those marks and all that clutter off of the whiteboard and come with what I call beginner's mind. And the reason that's so critical for this kind of conversation is because what we've been taught and shown and told in the love relationships and marriage arena has produced deplorable outcomes, has produced failed outcomes for far too many people. And it's like the example I use in the Love Lies book, where I talk about drinking from a poisonous well. And you're standing in line at this well to get your water. You've got your cup in your hand. And all the people that have gotten the water and drank the water, they're all around you, laying on the ground, grabbing their stomach, wrenching, vomiting, and writhing in pain. And yet, everybody's putting their water up to the well one by one, though they see evidence of whatever's in this water is failing people greatly. Whatever's in this water has people sick. Yet, autopilot, we continue to put our cup up to the relationships, love lies well, and we drink it. And then those deplorable failing results become widespread. And we look up, and in the United States, we have the highest failure rate globally in marriage. And high frustration and dissatisfaction rates in our non-marriage love relationships. So whatever we are doing in this country, without doing some doctoral dissertation on it, we know it ain't working for far too many of us, and the not working is pervasive. So that's also why people get to come with some humility instead of I already know or I think I already know, because what we're going to be talking about here, well, especially in Love Academy, it's a new paradigm we're talking about, not just 5 steps, 8 ways. Tonight's kind of just some insight stuff, but my teachings around this are really a new paradigm, which you have to elevate to get to a new paradigm. So this is not the same old recycled rhetoric and, as you would say, cliche conversation. We're really trying to usher people into a higher place, a new paradigm. What'd you say?
Yeah. No, I was saying not at all. Not at all. This is not your typical cliche conversation. Not the conversation your mama had and your grandma had. Trust. This is not your mama's relationship talk. This is a whole different. And I mean, and it's just fascinating because there's so many books on love relationships. There's so much top psychology around, you know, how to get a man and how to catch a man. And what I really appreciate about your teachings and the gifts that you bring, it's really about how are we showing up as women. I mean, I know you have conversations with the men, and we're not ladies, we're talking to the ladies tonight. And I know that you have a course called Mentality for Men, and you're going to give us a little bit of insight into what some of the men have said about the boss chick archetype and all of those things. And so I just really appreciate that you focus on, you know, how can we show up differently to be a transformative agent in our love relationships. So that is that's part of the new paradigm, but I know there's a lot more, and we're going to get into that. So tell us, Debrina, what do you mean? Because I know everybody's chomping at the bit, like, what is this boss chick archetype? So tell us more about her.
Well, we already know, because a lot of the marketing online is speaking to the boss chick, right? And there's memes and all kinds of things about boss chick this and boss chick that. And so the boss chick, because I definitely fall into that, you fall into that, is the successful, smart, accomplished woman who in her career or profession, if she's not owning her own business, she is pretty high up in one, or in a position of authority or supervision or management or leadership or executive leadership. She has achievements. She's used to being the top or number one. She's used to crossing the finish line first or in the top 10%. And so she's that successful, smart chick who is handling her business. And so being a boss chick's not a bad thing. It's just that when we step over into what I call the love relationships domain, and in that domain is also covenant marriage, what we find is an inordinately high failure rate. And so that's what we want to shine some light on. Like, well, what's that about? Over here, I have it handled. Over here, I have it handled. Over here, I have it handled. Why over here in this love arena, it ain't lining up? The same levels of success are not occurring over here as are in other areas of my life. And so that's what we are going to pull the curtain back and give a few insights as to why that is. Because I know that we have some other boss chicks that are watching this broadcast.
Yes, we do. In fact, we have, let's see, comments. We have Andrea, Carla, Stacy, and Deetra. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate you guys tuning in for this conversation. And go ahead and let us know if you have any.
Hey. Oh, this is great.
Yes. So, yeah, so they're loving your glasses.
Thank you, Stacy, darling.
And Carla says,
more for
and,
you.
And we have Carla who says forgiveness is key. It's more for you. Mm-hmm.
Actually, forgiveness isn't just more for you. It is first and foremost for yourself. It's a personal liberation process. Yes. Oh, I see some folks I have not seen in so long. Oh my gosh, Jermaine and Carla and Deetra. Deetra, oh my gosh. Andrea, hello. Stephanie, hey y'all. Woo! Love it.
Yes. Here's, I want to share another comment from Carla. She looks great about me and still pursue his dreams. I definitely would not be here without his support.
Yes.
Awesome. Got a second. I'm back. All right. Wow. So when we're talking about the boss chick archetype, and when you have had your conversations with the men in mentality, what are some of the conversations that they're having around their boss chick significant others, wives, girlfriends, etc.?
Yeah. Well, most of the time there's a lot of frustration because in mentality, it's all men, even my female staff and team members, they have to leave because I want the men in that space, in the spaces where we do mentality, to feel free to speak their truth. And if there are women in the room that they think will get defensive, will get angry, will cut them off, or will be argumentative, they will just stop communicating. So everyone leaves, all my staff leaves, that's female, and it's me and the men. And what they express, and I help them express because they've learned to just button up their lip and live with it. So many are frustrated because the successful woman, the success of the woman that they're married to or that they're in relationship to is attractive to them. So most men are not intimidated by success, ladies. They would prefer a successful woman over a failure woman, just so you know that. So any myths you have about, men have a problem with successful women, baloney. Successful is more attractive than failure, okay? What the problem becomes, and the reason that so many men have their own version of the blues is because in the love relationships arena, the boss chick is bringing her overly masculinized energy that in the workspace, in the business space, in the higher ed space, in the military space, in the athletic space. Works great. Get stuff done. But when you cross over into a different domain called love relationships, that very same activated male energy of doing and task and highly focused and do and checklist and get it done and highly capable and self-sufficient and handle it, make it happen. That same energy will work against you in some huge ways. And the reason is because polarity is an energetic truth in our universe. Protons and electrons are attracted to each other because of their polarity. A magnet draws an iron filing because they have a polarity that's attracting them. That's why the ends of two magnets repel, because you have the same charge instead of the polarity drawing them together. So when we as the female come with excessive masculine energy, still carrying it from our day where we needed to use it, activate it, push it out, operate from it, and it's now in our being, in our energy field, and in our style that we're communicating and doing stuff, it creates repelling or repulsion instead of attraction. It creates repulsion instead of attraction. So here are husbands, boyfriends, men we're dating, men that are attracted to us or trying to be, are also fighting with an invisible force called all this overly masculinized energy. On top of that, it's overly masculinized, not just highly, overly masculinized, excessive, way too much, okay? Highly is not strong enough a word. Someone put highly masculinized in the comments. Thank you. It's overly excessive. And so I use the example of an overcoat to describe that excessive masculine energy that we've been activating to make it out there in the world, in our job, in our profession, in our business. And it's like walking into your home with this overcoat on, and instead of hanging it up in the closet, which is always near the front door, right? You cross the threshold from outside to inside, you're in a new domain. You don't need the coat anymore. You hang it up right at the threshold so that you're not moving around inside your house, which is 70 to 72 degrees, with this big old coat. People go, why are you still wearing a coat? What's up? And might even think you're crazy, right? You walk around inside the house 70 degrees with a big coat. That coat is necessary in the domain across the threshold. That's why the coat closet is right by the door. You put it back on when you go back out into the other spaces. So with overly masculinized energy, excessive masculinized energy, when we bring it into our love relationship space, it is like walking around inside the house with that overcoat. So no one told us, right? We talked about awareness and skill. No one told us about energy. They just told us about how to behave in relationships. And a lot of that information was bogus. But energy is real. Men read energy. Men feel energy. Men are very sensitive to our energy. And what happens when we are running excessive amounts of male energy, it's very hard to contribute to us. Because excessive male energy, think of it as arrows. So when you're running a lot of excessive male energy, because from your workday, you got to do it and make it happen and be actionable. It's like sending out arrows. So if someone's sending out arrows, it's very hard to get close to them. It's very hard to find a way to get in and hug them because all that arrow energy is coming at you. I'm giving you all a metaphor. So it isn't just that the energy is repelling, it's that it informs how we show up. And instead of coming in, shifting back into our natural feminine energy, masculine and feminine, that exists in the human being and body. But shifting back into our natural space of feminine energy, We keep staying in this learned and contrived way of staying in this excessive masculine energy. So when women say, I'm always doing. I never sit down. There's always stuff to do. All that compulsive doing. That's the overly masculinized energy laid on top of our natural feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, having a hard time asking for help, having a hard time allowing help. Or we ask and then we go ahead and do it ourselves because we're so darn neurotic and everything has to be done now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All those are byproducts of that overly masculinized energy. And the culture has kind of pushed us into that, or we've pushed ourselves in, but we haven't known how to shift out of it when we get into our love relationship spaces, whether it's dating, whether it's, as a couple or with a partner or in a covenant marriage, I call it.
Right.
And then someone mentioned single mothers are usually having to activate even more because they're having to compensate for not having any of that male energy present in their space in the form of a husband or a partner or the father. Yes. So single moms, you all have two coats on, not just one in many instances.
Right. Yeah. And you talked about, just to kind of go through some of the other reasons why boss chicks struggle in love. And you talked about this notion of arrows, and you're constantly sending arrows. So you can be sending arrows energetically, but talk to us about how we might be sending arrows with our mouths and our tongue. So you can give us some insight into that.
One thing I want to address first, one of the viewers said it's so hard to shift gears from overly masculine because we possess masculine and feminine. I'm talking about overly and excessive masculine to feminine. We got to be very, very careful when we start to say it's hard to shift back into my natural state. Careful with that. Have shifting into our unnatural state be what's hard. That's how out of balance we've gotten. When we talk about come back to your natural state where your system is at the most peace and comfort, that's now hard to move back into our natural feminine comfort zone. That's how out of whack we are. So it's not hard. Taking off that excessive, that coat, it's very simple. You come in the door and you take the coat off and you hang it on a hanger. It does not have to be hard. It does not have to be hard. But a lot of us haven't even been aware of it. We're just moving through every domain of our lives being the same way. We don't realize in this domain over here called love relationships, it requires a shift. If you want to experience juicy love relationships.
Juicy.
So what are some of the other ways that overly masculinized energy can manifest, right? So I already mentioned having a hard time asking for help, or asking and then going ahead and doing it yourself if you did ask for help, or being impatient because he's taking too long, or going in and doing it yourself. I mentioned that. So what we have to be careful of, mindful of as the boss chick types, is our tongues too often are weapons instead of blessings. Meaning what we're saying and how we're saying it. So as females, we have this gift of being able to modulate our voices and not just be louder or softer, but to send it up and down and in and out and roller coaster all inside one word. We can go hello. That is a voice control gift that usually females have. And we tend not to use voice inflection to our benefit. Too often, what the tone we have is not pleasing to the male spirit. Too often our tone carries criticism. Too often our tone carries negative judgment. Too often our tone carries dissatisfaction. I'm not even talking about the words yet. I'm talking about the tone. And so too often we use our tongue as a weapon instead of as a blessing. So when I do Love Academy and I ask the married women a question that are in the group of single and married women, because Love Academy is for both, I will ask them, when is the last time, give me a date, that you spoke appreciation into your husband, boyfriend, a dude you like, especially husbands, because in marriage we can start to take each other for granted. And I didn't say thank you. Women always confuse speaking appreciation with saying thank you. I sure hope we're at least saying thank you, which many of us are not. I'm talking about speaking appreciation into, and I say into because our ears are spouts when we talk about love relationships. Our ears are spouts, men's ears are spouts, and we know our kids' ears are spouts for sure. So when I asked, when was the last time you spoke appreciation, not just said thank you, but spoke appreciation into the man in your life, especially since I'm speaking to married women with that particular question, your husband, they start skirming, what do you call it? Squirming in their chair. Or if they look up and they're trying to remember, I'm like, it's been too long. And every time there's always a because we are speaking lots of things in our relationships and our tongues are not being blessings. There's not sweetness coming off of our lips in the words that we are saying. So, and a lot of times we're stressed out, we're overwhelmed, we're depleted, no sacred care is going on. We feel burdened, we're frustrated, irritated. And so when we speak, it comes through in the voice, the tone. And if we're not careful, we'll start bossing our husbands around. They're not our employee. They're not our team member in terms of the workplace. They're our divine partner. So yes, we start to use our tongues as a weapon unconsciously. And that's a skill, right? We talked about skills earlier. That's a skill. And especially aligning our words, our tone, our body language, and our facial expressions so that it's a blessing and there's alignment. And when we align all that around sweetness and that feminine juiciness coming forth instead of criticism and the tone of disappointment or irritated with, the male spirit can't help but respond positively. That's how much influence we have with their spirit and on their character.
Yes. Yes. Woo, that's juicy. That is juicy. And so it kind of these first 2 points that you're making about, the overly masculinized energy and, using your tongue as a blessing. And if you're using it as a weapon, it's no wonder that men tell the boss chick that she intimidates them. And we think it's because they can't handle successful women. But in actuality, we are so in our masculine that it's almost like, I think you a little more masculine than I am. And that lack of polarity that you were talking about is where that quote unquote intimidation is coming from. So that's just powerful.
And it's really not intimidation, because if you look up the definition of intimidation, that means you feel endangered. And so that's not really an accurate use, but that word is used. And basically, like you said, it's code for it's code for you got way too much masculine energy coming off you, sister girl. And therefore, here, oh, you're intimidating, AKA that hard energy, too much hard energy, too much masculine energy. And it's repelling, AKA intimidating.
Right. Right. So we can get rid of the notion that it has to do with because, you know, we got master's degrees and we make an X amount of money and, you know, we drive a nice car. So we can do all of that, Miss Sabrina?
Yes.
Women
say intimidated because I earn more money than him. No. More money in the household is a good thing. No one wants a broke person. We've made up all these lies to explain. No. And we, and especially in our marriages, we have to be very careful with this bossiness that is a function of the overly masculinized energy, because men will start to check out. Husbands will start to get passive. And the number one thing you hear women say, I want to be more engaged. I want to be more connected. Don't even realize that if he's checking out, in many cases, not everyone, but it's because all that energy's coming at him. The tongue's being used as a weapon. Can't contribute to us. We doing every damn thing. There's no space to contribute. We don't know how to ask and allow him to get it done. Maybe not on your right now, yesterday timeline. We need to calm down and allow others to do things in our lives. And it doesn't have to be right now. And also we want to be careful with that bossiness, because it can create a mother-son dynamic in your love relationship. That kills the passion faster than anything else. So this boss chick thing, that's why you see so many successful women struggling, dissatisfied, pissed off behind the curtain in their love relationships and marriages.
And let's kind of unpack this notion of not allowing, right? So we're not allowing the energy to come towards us. We're not allowing him to be engaged and to contribute. But there's also a sense of not allowing his perspective and his ideas and his genius to be a part of the relationship. It seems like there's a notion that we, as boss chicks, always got to be right, or our way is a better way. Or can you speak more to that?
Yeah. We're used to being in charge in those other spaces, right? So then we bring that same energy and style and way of interacting over into the domain of our love relationships. And we tend to be more verbose as women, and men tend to be less wordy. Women use 15,000 words a day, supposedly, as the scientists have said, and men use 5,000. So we use 3 times as many words as they do. So we often put more value on more words being spoken, but when fewer words are spoken, we can easily dismiss or invalidate it. And men in the love relationship space tend to say things in shorter, more concise sentences. And we can miss it, dismiss it, invalidate it, poo-poo it, minimize it. Not to mention, not actually ask for perspective, feedback. And men usually speak truth in relationships. And guess what, ladies? They've learned how to just be silent, because when you ask for their perspective, what they have found is that we often do not want the truth. We just want them to agree with our disposition. So they've learned to stop responding when you say, well, what do you think, honey, baby, whatever, because they're like now torn. Okay, if I say the truth that I think, I'm going to get railed. I'm going to get harassed. I'm going to get that intense emotional energy coming back at me. And I want peace. So I'm going to agree with her. So men aren't even always being truthful in relationships because we can't even just take some truthful feedback. So it's amazing. So here we are growing in our overbearingness, not on purpose. And then they're checking out and getting more and more passive. And guess what's the condition? Okay, so someone said, how much does male confidence play into this? Into what?
Husbands see
the boss chick energy you mean? Oh, yeah, if we listened, but we don't listen very well. When we say to our guy, our man, we need to talk, it's because we usually have an upset that we want to discuss. Something's gone down. We got pissed off, something didn't work, and now we want to talk. Well, guess who takes up most of the airspace when we talk? It's not a talk, it's a monologue. Because we tend to be so defensive that even when men share their honest opinion or feedback, because they see that we're really only supporting what is supporting our narrative, they're like, she doesn't really want my feedback. She just wants me to agree with her position, her posture, and how she sees it. So It sounds good to say, hey, shouldn't they just create a space for discussion and understanding? A lot of discussion is not going on in our marriages. A lot of monologuing is, y'all, in our relationships. And we don't realize how much, if it's not in agreement with how we see it, we can tend to dismiss it and not do very good listening.
And I think in a lot of ways we project onto our men that what we think that they should be like versus what they are really like. So we want them to be, I think I froze for a second, but I'm back. We want them to be a version of us, basically, right? And is that what it really boils down to?
Yeah, they want them to be like a female with the penis. Yes, I said it. We expect men to respond.
Yeah.
Like my friend responds, respond like my girlfriend responds, think like my women friends do. And so how do I know that? Well, for one, love line number 8 is he should already know. So we expect men to already know because they know what we're thinking. They know what we want.
That's a dangerous one.
Because in the woman world, our communication, womanese, it's based upon inferring and implying and being indirect and connecting the dots. Men and communication are about being very literal, indirect, and specific. So often, and then women are taught to anticipate need, right? My husband and I do a lot of entertaining in our home, a lot. I don't know if we've had at least 40 parties and gatherings and things at our home. I have never had a man walk into the kitchen and say, Debrina, what can I do to help? Is there anything I can do? No, they go sit their butts down and get a beer and greet my husband or whatever. But guess what the women do? They're a guest as well. Debrina, is there anything I can help you do? I said, don't you dare even fix your lips to ask me that. You're a guest. That is gender, making up a Debrina word, gender-rational, not generational, gender-rational programming.
That's good.
So, yes, so often we want our husbands, our boyfriends to respond emotionally like a woman would. And that creates misery for us. And it's a drag to them because they now can see they did something wrong or didn't respond the way that she thought I should, but they're not clear what that should is. But then she goes into the silent treatment because she's in her girl, not in her woman. So now he's really confused. He's like, oh, women are crazy. And then they go to their man cave or go off to hang out with their friends all day or whatever because they don't want to deal with that energy. So yes, we often engage with men like they're females. And we speak womanese to them instead of manese to them. But nobody told us. We went from single to now being engaged, relating with someone, dating, etc. No one said, well, girl, did you upgrade your communication and become bilingual? We don't get asked that question. We go, oh, girl, what does he do? Is he cute? So.
How much money?
Yeah, girl, what did you do for money? Oh, that's something he has a good job. We don't say, well, did you upgrade your communication skills and become bilingual so that when you speak, he actually comprehends, he doesn't just hear you? I was never asked that. That's why I made the Debrinaism manese and womanese. Then I had to study the differences. It's like, oh my God, no wonder out of the 30,000 books on love relationships, 15,000 of them are in communication. So yes.
It's always communication is the key. Communication is the key.
If I see or hear that one more time, I'm gonna gag. America is a talkative country. So since we talk so much, how come we don't have the best and clearest and most connected communication experience between men and women? Communication in itself is not the key. I can be speaking Mandarin, you can be speaking English. And if you talk louder to me, I'm not all of a sudden going to comprehend what you're saying. I can hear more loudly all the words in English that I don't get. So women will say, I had to tell them 1,000 times. If I hear that, it lets me know she's speaking womanese to him, including to her son or her employee or her team member or her boss if they're a male. So, and we practice in Love Academy because women think they're already speaking manese. We practice. I give women some lead-in language. And do you know when I say repeat it back, they default in 1.5 seconds back to their womanese communication patterns. And everybody in the room starts to crack up because the person is not even aware they did it. I'm like, do you know what you did? What? I said back what you said to me. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. And the whole room goes, yes, you did. Like, what? Autopilot.
Right. And so go ahead.
I was just going to say, so I was just reinforcing, just wrapping up. So even in communication, we expect men to respond like a female would, and we speak to them using womanese, which is as if they were female and don't even realize it. And it doesn't work.
Right.
For us or them.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, everything that we've talked about, I just want to be mindful of the time as well. And everything that we talked about tonight is really rooted in these 10 love lies that you are, very well known for bringing into the physical realm, because they were literally downloaded to you from the Holy Spirit. And so, how is this? The love lies, they're from the Holy Spirit. They've been downloaded, but how do they bring into this 3D world a new paradigm in love relationships, right? So you talked about, we're not dealing with cliche conversation. We're not, messing with recycled rhetoric. This is a new paradigm. So talk to us about how this is not the same as everything else that you've that everyone else is reading or listening to or learning about.
Well, in the Love Lies book that I just held up, the key word in the byline, the subtitle was transform. So to transform something, not just change or improve it, but transform it, you've got to look at the beliefs, because beliefs are like our human software. And so often love relationships courses and books are focusing on behavior, strategies, approaches. That's secondary. Beliefs are origin. Beliefs are undergirders of our behavior. Behaviors are a function of our beliefs. So if you really want to transform, you go underground to the subterranean world where beliefs live. And in our love relationships, there are so many flawed, faulty, failing beliefs that have just been part of our socialization that we don't even recognize them, because they start being installed, as my research shows, around age 3 and 4. That's a long time. And so so during that really dark night of the soul and that season about 15 years ago, when my own marriage came this close to divorce, and I received these divine downloads that illuminated why there's so much breakdown and frustration and friction and confusion in our love relationships and marriages. And at that time, some was showing up in mine as well, but it was in my blind spot. So I didn't know. I thought my husband was the total issue. It was him, and he needed to get some stuff together, and then this could all work, as I was thinking at the time. So yes, in the love lies, I talk about 10 foundational female love lies, because there's female love lies and male love lies. And that poisonous water, that metaphor I gave at the beginning, how we're drinking the poisonous relationship water and then we're getting these horrible outcomes and we're getting sick from the water. Well, I illuminate what in the water is making us sick. We don't just say the water's making us sick, our relationships aren't working, I'm frustrated. No, we take a look. Well, what in the water is making us sick? We illuminate the love lies that have been installed and embedded deep in our thinking, deep in our emotional system, deep in our psyche, that are now invisible to us. And we identify them, call them out, and show what they create in how we've been doing and been showing up in and relating and engaging in our love relationships and marriages. And we have exercises and discussion and, you know, a lot of fabulous ways that we help to excavate those funky love lie beliefs. And then we don't just leave you there, because, okay, well, we know what's not working. What was invisible is now visible in terms of, oh my God, here's what's making the water poisonous. Okay, now what? So then we talk about the love truths that are a new paradigm, meaning they're not drawing from that same well. It's a completely different well, and you have not had water from that well. I promise you. And when you drink from this other well, the new paradigm I teach, you set yourself up to experience juicy love relationships, deeply satisfying, deeply fulfilling, full self-expression, relaxed in your feminine essence and operating from your feminine core. What? Yeah. So,
and full of freedom.
Freedom, absolutely. Freedom. So there was a question that says, are you seeing this problem with men? I'm not sure what problem she's referring to.
So it's a guy.
Oh.
And he's asking, I think guys making more money. I think he's asking that. Kasim.
Maybe he can clarify.
So it's all about, you know, are you seeing this problem with men that are making more money? He's referring to, and Kasim, you can comment if you're still watching. Basically, this boss chick blues conversation, right? So are there boss chick dudes that are having the similar challenges? But I think you kind of address the men in the male love lives, which are very different from female bloods, if you want to speak more to that.
Oh yeah, men have a completely different set of let me get the 3 F's. False, failing, flawed love relationships programming that they receive. And there's not time to get into that. And women always want to know, well, what are the men's love lives? I'm like, ladies, we have enough of a task dealing with all of our funky programming. So let's stay focused on that for a minute. And
Yeah.
And don't worry about the love life. So, you know, we're really just scratching the surface. So scratching the surface in this conversation tonight. But it really is to just shed some light on a phenomenon I've seen, you know, this whole boss chick archetype and how it creates havoc and undermines and sabotages us in our love relationship spaces. And often we don't know how to shift out of it. You know, that's just how I am. No, that's how you've learned to be, because it gets you results in a certain arena.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we act like we can't shift. If you were in a board meeting with adults and then you walked down the hall and there was a room full of 8-year-olds, you would change how you converse with them just that fast, 5 seconds later. So it's so hard to shift. Stop it. No, it's not. But you weren't aware before. So, so there's things in our blind spot that we illuminate in Love Academy. There are new beliefs that I introduce that are going to challenge what you've come to hold as true. That's not working.
Mm-hmm.
When you have the worst success in an arena, then you don't continue to be attached to the failing model. And that's what we've done because it's all we know. Even in church, we are not teaching God's divine design for marriage. We're teaching who the person at the pulpit, what they're saying, or the person leading the marriage enrichment seminar for married couples in church. And guess what? Christians have 51% divorce rate as well. Not 1 percentage point better than everybody else. So that's not, you don't get to pop your collar. Well, you know, Christians, I have God. No, we are misapplying the divine design and have been mistaught. So you've heard me mention Love Academy, but I've been doing Love Academies around the country since 2009. And actually Love Academies was happening 5 years before all my participants and students said, please write a book. So I wrote a book after I'd been doing Love Academy for 5 years. It just so happens that at least 51 graduates from my Love Academy have gone on to be in new marriages, or people that were divorced getting remarried from ages 27 to 72, remarried, newly married.
Wow.
It's only about age. We think it's about age. And not everyone is interested in getting married. Totally fine. Single and married women take Love Academy. You learn how to become a man magnet. You learn how to be a great date. You learn how to become irresistible to men. You learn how to speak man. You learn how to recognize the female love lies that have infected you and you didn't even know it. But the response you're getting isn't what you want. You see, the experience you're having is not working for your soul. It's not fitting the chick flicks and romantic comedies fiction that we saw at the movie theater. So Love Academy, I'm doing virtual for the first time via Zoom ever, because I'm usually 3D live with people in 25 cities around the country. You would have had to fly there. Now you can come to Zoom on your computer or phone and join me on October 3rd and 10th. So you can go to milliondollarmentor.net, and right there on the homepage, you have the beautiful graphic for Love Academy. Click it and sign up. And we got a few more spaces where you get the bonus gift. And you'll see what that bonus gift is when you go to the page. And regular registration actually started today. So we just missed early bird registration. It ended yesterday. But would love to have folks sign up. I do not know when I will be doing another virtual Zoom one. I really prefer live 3D, but in this season we're in, we're going to go for it. So $1 Million Mentor, go to Love Academy, come on and join us. Those of you who want to prepare for partnership, who want to increase your skill level, who want to stop drinking the poisonous well relationship water and experience a fresh well of water that gives you juicy relationships, come on and join us. So I'm going to leave you the last word, Karima, because you've taken Love Academy and you've audited it, because you know that unlearning some deeply embedded stuff is not a one-shot thing. So I'm going to close out because you are experiencing a juicy relationship, but you have been very diligent in your commitment to stop drinking the poisonous water and to step into this new paradigm. You know, it's not an insto presto kind of process.
It's not. No, it is. It is. I was actually at the first Love Academy. I believe that was 2010. And so I have been on this journey, you know, alongside Sabrina, and, you know, making the calls in, and the not 911 calls, but the love line hotline calls in to get guidance and understanding, because I was really just hungry. And I was really committed to detoxing from the Love Life, because that's what really it is. Love Academy and the Love Life book and the Juicy Woman way of living. It's really about detoxing from these lies that we've been acculturated with. And so, Sabrina, when you mentioned that even in Christian marriages, the divorce rate is the same, but we have to look at the fact that this acculturation starts so early before we even could spell Christian. So it lives in it's literally, right? I mean, it lives in our spirits, these lies, it lives in, it's wired into our brain. It's a part, it's in our body. That's why it can be, we think it's challenging to unlearn it, but it's really just being committed to the work. And so I am just grateful that I had the opportunity to be a part of the Love Academy. And yes, I am enjoying a beautiful, delicious journey with an amazing man. And we'll see where it goes. But I get to show up. I am showing up way differently than I've shown up, you know, years prior. And it also helps that when you are walking in the love truth, you activate and invite men into your life who are walking in their own love truth, and that are highly open and highly seasonable. And if you come to Love Academy, you'll get a little whiff of what it means to season a man. And so that part. And so I'm just so delighted, and because it really started with me and my work and my detox, and really stepping into my radiance. Well, not even stepping into, because radiance is my natural state. It's about removing the gunk, funk, and junk, says. Removing all of that and allowing my natural state to come forward and emerge. And so now this gentleman gets to benefit from that, as does the whole world. So here I am in all my glory. Thank you, Sabrina.
That was so well said. Oh, my goodness. Are you able to put something in the comments, the $1 Million Mentor, and select, or $1millionmentor.net and select Love Academy? Are you able to put that in comments or no? No?
I am not. I
okay.
would have to do that
I am either.
From my phone. I can't do it from here.
Am I able to? It doesn't.
Pardon?
Am I able to? I'm going to see.
If you go to, let's see, private. Yeah. So, but yeah, if you're watching right now, I implore you to go to www.milliondollarmentor.net and get registered. And Sabrina, I know that you're going to be bringing some new things in, because, you know, you have, well, first, you haven't done a virtual one before, but then it's been a while since you've due to the situation. It's been a while since you've done one, but you've got some different things that you're going to be putting in there. So it's refreshed and revamped. Still going to be talking about all the love lies, but there's going to be some next level learnings and things that Debrina is going to be bringing, because she's been leading course for the last 10 years and talked to multiple women and men across the nation. And so what she's bringing is going to be so powerful, because she's listening to all of these. She's in the field getting the feedback and bringing it to us. And so that's how this boss chick archetype emerged, because there's definitely this archetype alive and well in our world. So I wouldn't miss it if I was you. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it is not like, if you have done a love relationships course before, I promise you this is not that. This is not that.
Life changing.
Yeah. So whether you are single or married, or in transition from single to being married because you're maybe engaged right now, get yourself to the Love Academy.
Yeah.
Get yourself to the Love Academy, right? Yes.
Yeah. And let's stop making up all of these, excuses or reasons for why we're not in juicy love relationships. No, if you were really honest, you're not waiting on the Lord, because the Lord does not withhold. So that's a whole nother conversation. So let's just get that out of the way. And no, it's not because there are no good men in the world, in Seattle, in Atlanta, pick the country, continent of your choice. It is none of that. No, they are not intimidated by you, even though that's the language they may have used. This is an opportunity for you to really turn the mirror on yourself and really do the deep work that is going to make you a magnet for the right partner. But you get to be the right partner before you attract the right partner. And I'm a witness.
Woo. And those who are already, say it, Karima. Those who are already married, it's about going from good to great and from great to juicy. So we're talking about elevating to some new realms. So there's something for all of us, single and married women. Love Academy 101. I have a different course for men. It's called Mentality. This course is for women. That's what I'll be talking to. I'm not going to be talking about what men need to do. That's what I talk to them about in Mentality. Okay, so just know they get a rigorous, truthful conversation in Mentality about their transformation and what their new paradigms are and their own love lives. But this Love Academy 101 is for the women. All
right. Well, thank you, Debrina. Really appreciate you. Looking forward to and I'm a continuous student. I will be at the Love Academy because there's always some new richness. There's always some juicy fruit, some juice that she's dropping, some nuggets. So I'm a continuous learner, because my intention is to bring my husband joy all the days of my life, and it starts with bringing myself joy. So there you go. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate you. We send you lots of love, and we look forward to seeing you in the Love Academy.
Get your seat.
Awesome.
Thanks, Karima. You're awesome.
You're welcome. You're welcome, mentor. Good night, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.